So
I mean,
you look like a different person, Matt.
it's gonna be like drying the whole time too. I didn't have time to like really dry my hair after my shower, so we're just gonna rock with this and see what happens.
No one witnessed what I witnessed, though. Literally 2 minutes ago, like 120 seconds ago, it looked like something completely different.
It's amazing what a comb does.
It really is. How you doing, Matt? What are you drinking?
I'm finishing my seltzer so I can drink a booze.
Oh, what flavor?
Lime, LaCroix, LaCroix, whatever you call it.
I don't like it.
LaCroix. I mean,
I never found any flavor that I ever liked.
Or I'm fine with lime and like lemon and all that stuff. Key lime is dog shit. Don't drink key lime.
I think most of the flavors are dog shit, but that's just my opinion.
I hear pamplemousse is very good.
You know it isn't dog shit.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Well, teach your own.
I haven't had one of these in a little while.
I'm going to continue with my truly fruit punch. So this is the only one I really, really like. This is the berry. I take it back. The fruit punch is the one I like the most, but like, it's just boozy fruit punch at this point. So, I mean, they've gone into lemonades, they've gone into iced teas, and now they're doing boozy fruit punches. So why not?
Okay. Cheers to that. What shirt are you wearing? Oh,
this is Scream 2.
Nice.
Of the entire Rucking Fountain Scream collection that they released, which I have 1, 2, and 3 of.
Those were some very cool shirts.
Yeah, Rucking Fountain's really cool. I've worn Rucking Fountain on here before, but they just do kind of exclusive dumps very quickly, and it's not like Cavity Colors where they stay up for a little bit. They print a limited amount, and if you get them basically the day everything goes up, then you have them. Like I just got an Attack the Block shirt that I freaking love, but it was sold out within a few hours. Like so. Rucking Fountain is the one that I like stay up to make sure I get. I need
to go and check out whatever they have right now, but I
right now it's Independence Day and Attack the Block. Their Independence Day stuff is cool.
Rucking Fountain. I feel like I'm meant to have this brand of clothing just because their name is a spoonerism.
Spoonerism, you love it.
Oh, a lot of the Attack the Block stuff is sold out. Or I see the Independence Day stuff.
The glow in the dark Attack the Block was sold out, and I was so mad.
I literally just received like 2 days ago in the mail my Independence Day shirt from Cavity Colors. I think from the last time we did this show when I like immediately ordered a shirt after.
Yep.
I have a problem. I have a real problem.
I literally, like, I've spent entirely too much on Rucking Fountain.
I know, it's like, why did I just say that while I was talking to you of all people? Like, you have more graphic tees than anybody I know.
I'm like, in preparation for moving, I'm like setting things aside, and the piles of graphic tees that I have accumulated just from the pandemic, I'm just like, right, because I wasn't spending on anything but t-shirts, because I was like, screw it, I have a little bit of money.
I think I might have to get the Attack the Block one instead.
It's so cool. It has the jaws in the back. So like it has a graphic on the front and on the back of the shirt. It has the like the green jaw image. Oh, it's so nice.
I mean, no, these Independence Day ones are cool too. I'm probably going to wind up needing both. That's what this is going to come down to.
All right. So now that we've openly talked about what we're going to buy.
Do you want to talk about a movie thing?
I guess if you want to. I don't know. What do we do? What do we even do here?
It's Friday. We just like
hang
out and chill and talk movies and see what happens every Friday night. Is my internet connection shitty again?
You're fine. You're absolutely fine.
Have you ever seen?
Wait, am I delaying? Am I in delay?
No, it's just. Have you ever seen on StreamYard when up to the top at the top of your box it has like that little the signal thingy?
The icon, yeah.
Whenever I see that, I panic a little.
You're okay.
But I checked my speed right before this, and it was very good.
You're doing.
Do you want to review a movie?
Yeah, you want to jump right into that? That's cool.
Yeah, I say we do that. So, as you guys know from the title of this video and the thumbnail, we are going to do a spoiler-heavy review of Fear Street 1994, which is the first of 3 Fear Street movies coming to Netflix. But we're going to save that for a little later in the show, just so if any of you haven't watched the movie yet, you don't have to worry about spoilers early on in Merri Hour. But there's another, I was about to say show, there is another movie that we wanted to do a review of. It's the new Purge movie, The Forever Purge. So let's review it. Matt, do you want to give everyone a synopsis? Can I put you on the spot?
Yeah, I mean, I could do my best with it. It'll be a really quick synopsis in the sense that we all, or maybe you haven't seen the Purge movies, but at this point in the Purge timeline, we have done the Purge from the sense of someone inside a house. We've done the Purge twice outside, and how the new founding fathers have started to use the Purge as the government conspiracy, that whole aspect of it. Then we go first Purge, and the first Purge is, well, even more disturbing because the roots of the Purge is because maybe we treat minorities in these minority areas terribly. So now we know where the Purge started, how it started, and why it started. The Forever Purge is basically the new founding fathers biting themselves in the ass, because this is the Purge and what happens after. And the Purge is actually reinstated in this timeline. It hasn't been around for a little bit. It's reinstated to allow people a little bit of catharsis again. And there is a group that uses this Purge to enact their anarchy. So the Purge happens, it ends, the alarm goes off, everyone goes back to safety, except a bunch of people keep their costumes on. They become the purifiers of America, and they rage the Purge onward without any boundaries at this point. So this is the hate that the new founding fathers have stoked and wanted, except now it's coming for them because they want to cleanse America. So that is the Forever Purge is what happens when a group of people band together after the Purge and still have to survive.
After teeing that up as a very short synopsis, you just gave a very thorough one.
I did. I know. Because I'm like, well, okay, this Purge, that Purge, that Purge. There is a chronology that you have to get into with it.
There is. And you know where that chronology has led me? I think that the Forever Purge. Done. Yeah, I think I mean, to be completely honest, I don't think I could ever say I'm done just because we work in this industry. And when it comes to a popular franchise like this, I will always need to keep up. But like, enough is enough already. It's definitely not working for me anymore. And that's not to say that I think the Forever Purge is a bad movie. I think some of those performances and some of those set pieces are very well executed. I think it's becoming more of a personal taste thing than anything. It's like, in the end, I didn't enjoy myself, and I had to ask myself, well, was it worth it? Because it's very on the nose, the way that it approaches this subject matter. It's very surface level. So if I don't take anything new from this experience that I didn't really enjoy sitting through, like, why am I here anymore? And I had a very similar reaction to the first Purge too. That's another one that I don't think it's a bad movie by any means, but did I enjoy it? No. And I don't want to watch that again. Purge 3, Election Year, that is a bad movie.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed on that. Purge Election Year, I think, is my least favorite of the bunch. And I agree with you. The subtlety is not what these Purge movies do. These movies are basically trying to use exploitation to have a commentary about social topics in America. And again, the first Purge is very much about like the Black experience in America and how the government particularly doesn't really care about them and uses them as test subjects even. Like that is kind of the movie of the first Purge. And the Forever Purge starts with immigrants coming into America. Like the Forever Purge starts with that very stereotypical scene of 2 Mexicans crossing the border through a tunnel. They come to America for the American dream. We know the commentary that is being queued up. We know where the Forever Purge wants to go with this. And essentially it turns into a movie about these Mexican immigrants who have come into America, team up with the ranchers they now work for in Texas, and they have to escape back into Mexico. That has become the American dream, is to escape America. There is nothing here of deep value and deep meaning and commentary. But at the same time, I think where the Forever Purge worked a bit better for me than I think it did you is in using its exploitation and in using violence. A lot of times, some of these movies that try to have this huge message, they use violence in a way to make a point. And they use violence to kind of that is the message where, oh, these people are dying. Look at these people die. This is atrocious. This is the message. the Forever Purge goes out of its way to make sure that the only real, not the only, but the most violent deaths happen to not our heroes, not the Mexicans trying to get back. Like, it is very much happening to the white people who are trying to take America and cleanse it. Like, all the worst things and the most brutal things that happen, they happen to the right people. And that is a conscious choice. That it sounds ridiculous, but that you don't always get that in a movie like this. So I give it points there. I give it points because, like you said, the set pieces are pretty great sometimes, and the action also works in this sense. It's not as much a horror movie as the other movies are, honestly, I think the only real horror movie is the first Purge. That's the one that really goes
much more in line with the Purge Anarchy. Like they're both pure action movies that happen to be very bloody.
Right, exactly. But I think it works a little bit more here because we have an ensemble that works between Josh Lucas and basically everyone else on screen there. The ensemble works together. Again, the stereotypes are not avoidable, especially with Josh Lucas just being the whole, like, I ain't got a problem with you. I just think we should be separate. Like, no, like, but still, like, it's still there. Like, every bit of the racism, things of that nature, they still exist. But for what it does and for what it could have done and for how bad it could have been, I still kind of sat with this one. And maybe that's just because of the catharsis of this is a big fuck you to the last 4 years and the last presidential term we had to sit through. So maybe I'm giving it more credit because the catharsis is real this time. Like, the catharsis is a thing that we feel, and it suggests that we were this close. And like, no, we weren't this close to what happened in that movie. But at the same time, this is that warning to saying, like, you want to rule with hatred? Like, this is what happens. And I felt that message so much more because of what we just endured as Americans. So I don't know. I kind of walked away going like 3 out of 5, nothing great. But at the same time, I was into this more than I was infinitely more first Purge and election year.
I'm tempted to give it 2.5 Deweys out of 5 on the Dewey Destin movie scale, but I didn't mean to jump the gun there. No, it's all good. I feel like the 2.5 is a very personal score, whereas if I'm doing the whole, quality of the movie thing broken down by certain sections of movie making, I think it deserves a little more credit than that score would reflect. But at the same time, if I go ahead and I tell you I would give it a 3 out of 5, it doesn't feel like it reflects how much I didn't enjoy watching this movie, which, is that even the purpose of the Purge movies anymore? Like, it doesn't feel like, back when that first movie came out, the premise was always sick and twisted and always trying to say something, but it did feel like it was leaning into, like the Saws and the high concept horror movies of the world, where it was trying to become event viewing, where it was like almost like, I hate phrasing it this way, but like a neat high concept for us to be like, whoa, look at this next kill and this next kill and this, not wish fulfillment. I'm using the wrong term there, but something that inspires you to go, what would you do if this was a real thing? How would you? Because remember when the first movie came out, everyone was like, well, what would you do during the Purge? Like, would you go out?
Would you purge?
Would you rob a bank? Like, it's not that anymore. It feels like it's gotten like darker and darker and darker with each installment. And even though I do respect some of the swings that they're taking, I don't know if they're making the most of that premise at this point. Not enough to justify the lack of entertainment value that I'm experiencing.
Yeah, totally agree with you there because, again, the balance of exploitation is hard because you're going full force and very darkly into something that other genres can't really handle. I mean, the horror genre handles these kind of topics best because you have exploitation and you use that lens to kind of cover the message and you deliver it in a way that is impactful, but it's also impactful for the genre reasons as well. So I think that's a hard enough thing to grade on right there. And I think the other Purge films, they do struggle with that, especially, again, election year. But VFX aside as well in this movie, I do want to say the VFX are not great here. There are some rough looking cuts with cities on fire and things of that nature that don't look good. But all that stuff aside, I'm still into the concept, like what you were saying about the world building and this being an event film. I agree. It's very much trying to be, there's even like a Saw kind of kill in this one too, which is the most it's ever been kind of Saw like. the costumes still work for me. You have the whole cowboy marauder gang, and those costumes and the face masks, they all look great. The makeup looks great. You get the dystopian vibe of everything. So in a different world, I think the entire franchise could have been more in line with the Forever Purge and done it a little better, because there are a few moments that actually do hit me. There are a few moments, and James DeMonaco has been involved in all the films, writing it, at least writing it some way, directing other times. But this was the one where I kind of had a few moments where characters, Josh Lucas, Will Patton, a few others, they have a moment on screen and I go like, okay, you're actually hitting me in a way where Will Patton's great. Like, Will Patton is the old guard accepting the new ways, and actually he plays a ranch hand, the owner of the ranch, and you actually get someone who cares about the diverse culture of America. He's not falling in line with the other old white dudes running America. So you do get a few moments where he's basically like, fuck you to everybody else. He's like, I'm going to go out here and like say the right thing, do the right thing, because it is the right thing. So the distortion of the American dream is being, it's everything that's right for the Purge. It's everything that they want to do. But I still think they get it right in the Forever Purge more. The commentary. Sorry. They get the commentary right more in the Forever Purge than they have before. So it gets points. I think that is where that is. And also, Ana de la Reguera, I believe is the name. I didn't want to butcher it.
Like, but I'm kicking myself right now because I've had all day to, learn the pronunciation of certain names, and I don't really want to butcher it. But the two leads in this, her included, I think they're some of the biggest standouts in this ensemble. And like, she's just crushing it this year, I think, between this movie and Army of the Dead as well. And I think the cast really contributes to elevating the quality of the film, and that was a big reason that any of it worked for me at all.
And even down to like a supporting part, like Alejandra Ada plays Titi, and Titi is just another ranch hand, but he falls in love with. He's very good, and he falls in love with the daughter of Will Patton, and it's this great little dynamic where they fight together. So, does it say a lot? No. Does it say things that are monumentally new? No. Does it say things that people need to hear, though, in a way? Again, the Forever Purge does that most than most of the other Purge movies, I think.
Very, very fair points. I hear you on that. Maybe I'll rewatch and keep that in mind at some point.
And it still looks like crap in places. I'm not defending the VFX in places. You will see things and you will go, that looks like PlayStation 2.
Oh no. All right. We on to our next thing? We have chat. We have super chats. Super chats.
Right. Do we say how many for your review? Do we have to do the Dewey Decimal movies?
I'm going to stick with kind of what I was saying before. I'm stuck between a 2.5 and a 3 because I'm conflicted of, certain things that I think were of a certain quality, but just didn't appeal to me. And I'm very conflicted about whether or not it's fair for the score to reflect one over the other.
I'm going to stick with 3, make it easy. 3 out of 5. I think it's that base value recommendation where if you're into the Purge, go for it, because what do you have to lose?
I have to overcomplicate everything, don't I?
Usually I do too, don't worry.
I'm the asshole who legit scores a movie and then loses sleep over it. So cheers to that.
Oh yeah, cheers to your neurotic ratings.
Can I complain about something? Especially because
the super chats.
I don't think that anybody who is commenting on this particular review is watching the Merri Hour right now. But I did not realize how intense Chris Pratt fans are. I am getting, I would say it's close to rip to shreds on my Tomorrow War review. And it's largely folks being pissed and accusing me of not liking the movie because it doesn't have a female lead. It will always be a head scratcher to me why people are so determined to make that assumption and apply it to everything you do, when I just it's not true. Yes, in the Tomorrow War review, I said Chris Pratt was fine because he's fine. He doesn't elevate the material. But then someone like Yvonne Strahovski has this scene where it's I'm sitting there in this movie that I'm not liking, and I'm watching her do this scene, and I'm just holy shit. How did you just take this movie to this level. Like, you just took your material and went up here with it. That is something to praise. Me saying that literally has nothing to do with their gender whatsoever.
But it's an easy thing for trolls to latch onto. I think it's just the easiest go-to, like, oh, look, a woman reviewer, of course she's mad at this movie because it doesn't have a lady in charge. Like, yeah, that's what trolls are going to do, because they're going to take the base value. They're not going to actually, like, they're not even going to listen to what you're saying. They're just going to make up in their mind why you're mad at something. And
Sometimes seeing those comments makes me wish that I was more outspoken about those things. Because, admittedly, I'm not. And maybe I should be a little more. But I feel like I'm the worst target for stuff like that, because I
was just going to say, there are so many other targets.
I don't do what they're accusing me of. But if I'm going to get accused of it anyway, like, maybe I should more loudly speak my beliefs on those matters. Because what's the difference?
I would not nudge you the other way. I would say that maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe if that's the epiphany you take from this, be more outspoken. If you want to, fucking do it.
A little bit. All right, let's hit this one. Annabelle's here. Hello, my friend. How you doing? Happy Friday. Any thoughts on the Alien series? I think it's a long time coming, including the synopsis. Happy 4th weekend to you both. Tips, hat tip. Wait, what? Tips, hat. I can't read it.
Tips hat, like tips hat.
Taps to yours and bows at the excellence.
There you go.
I got there eventually, Hannibal. I don't know if I said it as well to like really convey what you meant there, but
it's been a long week, Perri.
It has been. I like the idea of an Alien series. Admittedly, I'm a little skeptical about a Noah Hawley Alien series, though. That's the only thing that's got me a little concerned.
There was that quote going around Twitter, basically, where he completely misunderstood a plot point in Fargo, yet he was in charge of the entire Fargo series. So that was one of the things people were like worried about, the fact that they're like, so the dude who made the Fargo show that didn't even understand the movie Fargo is now in charge of an Alien movie. So show. I'm nervous. I hope it goes the right direction. I hope he understands Alien a little better than Fargo, but
I feel like there was another quote that was like these, like, I guess the original movies don't, but I think one of the quotes was something to the effect of like, most of these don't take place on Earth, so that makes our show different. Right. But like AVP stuff happens on Earth, no?
Yeah. What the AVP erasure alone is something that I cannot stand for.
I can stand for some AVP erasure, but not all of it.
I cannot.
We
do have a plot synopsis, right? I'm looking at the Collider article because
I don't necessarily know if it was a synopsis. I think he just said something along the lines of an unofficial synopsis that just like teased what you can expect from it.
Oh yeah. The new series will also be set on Earth, something definitely new to the Alien franchise. It won't be about Ellen Ripley. I'm going by your writers. I'm just going by your article.
I hear you.
The alien stories are always trapped in a prison, trapped in a spaceship. I thought it would be interesting to open it up a little bit so that the stakes of what happens if you can't contain it are more immediate. Again, that's AVP. But I get it. Also, that's Covenant.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about Covenant too, when he mentioned the trapped thing, because that movie isn't like super contained. I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking his points, because like there's
aliens isn't really contained
to them.
There is. I admit there's a degree, but it's just this is a property that I enjoy very much, and I just want to make sure it's in the right hands.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I don't know. Maybe this early out, we should have a little more faith in him and judge later, because it seems to be happening. So we shall see.
And Fargo was good, despite not understanding what Fargo is.
Never watched Fargo.
It's solid. Like it's a very solid.
Maybe I'll get to it. / probably not, because I have so much to watch. I have a question for you. Are you a fan of Camp Cretaceous, or is that just Haley?
Yeah. No, I watched it all.
I finally did some of the binge. I binged all of season 1 in 2 days.
It's adorable. Like it's adorable, but it also has some like dark moments. It does the kid show right.
I was getting so like I've had a long time to watch this. I've heard a lot of hype from folks like you and Haley. And when I started the show, I'm just like, I kind of don't get it. Like the first 2 episodes are, I mean, extremely childish, where even as someone who really loves Jurassic, I'm like, you know, I can imagine this being fun for kids, but I don't know if I'm really enjoying this. And then when it does the whole Jurassic World of it all, then I'm like, yes. Like I get
the tie-in's
this.
great.
I love this, and I love these characters, and I feel like when things get more dangerous for the characters become more mature, and they go through things that, even though I'm far older than them, still speak to me, and I could feel the danger and I could feel the connection. I thought it was great at that point. Who was your favorite character?
I mean, well, Bumpy, obviously.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say Bumpy.
I mean, like, how am I going to pick? Yeah. How am I going to pick a human character when Bumpy's there?
Now I like the Ankylosauruses even more because, like, now I like no one. Now I know Bumpy.
It's just Bumpy. I'm here for the bump.
I love that some of the dinosaurs are named. Like the Carnotaurus is Toro.
Oh, yep, Toro. Yeah, that's the fun part.
It is.
That's the fun part of like having it a kids show, because you get to do the kids element of this. Like we've seen adults dealing with Jurassic Park mostly. I mean, The Lost World has a child gymnast in it. That's a little diversion, I guess I would say. But we are getting a Jurassic World from a child's viewpoint, and like half of it's wonder and half of it's terror. So it's that fun little mix of personality there.
I was very impressed by how they handled the terror, because it's like, you know, like, again, maybe it is designed for younger viewers, but there's a lot of Jurassic adult fans, us included, they're going to watch this stuff. And like dinosaurs in these movies kill people. How do you do that in a kids animated show? They do that very, very well, where they don't show a single thing, but if someone's looking for that in the show, they get it, and it's scary. I was very impressed with that part of it.
I mean, agree. Just agree. Because I don't know where you are, so
I finished season 1. So tonight, when we're done, I'm going to go on to season 2. I'm very excited.
And they're 20-minute episodes. So easy.
It was a great binge. All right. Ian's here. About 40% of my wardrobe has become horror graphic tees since I wasn't going to concerts and getting shirts.
Can't get concert tees.
I'm in the process right now of debating what I'm leaving here in New York and what I need to take back. And that's proving to be a rather large part of the suitcase right now. I'm trying to figure out how much I actually think it's just restricted to cavity color stuff. How much of it I'm bringing back and how much is staying here.
All of it. I mean, bring back all your cavity. Actually, don't bring back the sweatpants yet. I take it back, because like I got all the sweatpants like earlier on, and like it was comfortable because it was like chilly here. But now it's hot, and I'm not going to touch those sweatpants for months.
I'll need it for the winter months, so I'm still going to bring those back anyway. But even things. No one needs to know this really, but even things like my equipment, I'm trying to figure out what is worth shipping, what is worth schlepping, and what is worth rebuying. Like I think the ring light that my phone is sitting on right now to use as my camera, that's probably a repurchase. But the colored lights behind me need to go in the suitcase. Yeah. I gotta
go with you.
And
yeah.
I'm thinking about getting a new mic too. How do we feel about that? I don't know.
If you want to, I can't make these decisions for you. So, however you're feeling, Perri.
You're supposed to make choices for me, Matt. I
made a choice. I made a choice on the Mevo, so I can't help you right now.
I don't even use the goddamn Mevo. Who knows though? Maybe when I bring the Mevo back to LA, the white balance won't be completely thrown off by the hot pink walls all around me.
I would hope so.
There was another one, right? Yeah, yep. I see it. It's Ryan. Got you, Ryan. Hey, Perri and Matt, happy Friday. I'm so pissed that there is already toys spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. We haven't even gotten an official trailer yet. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, part of me is pissed too. Like it feels like toy leaks or the new paparazzi photos. And it's just like, it's inevitable. I feel like I've hit the point where I'm resigned to the fact that there's no avoiding it. So I'm kind of numb to it.
I've avoided this one, so don't say what this one is. I don't know this one yet. because I know the toy leaks are so crazy, and I have just not been spending as much time on Twitter, so like it's not in my feed, or it is, and I'm just not seeing it. But like Godzilla vs Kong, Mechagodzilla got ruined for me because of an early toy leak. Like someone just posted the picture. Like there was no article, they just posted the picture into my timeline. I'm like, well, fuck off. Like, what are you doing? Like the movie's not out for multiple months. Like, why are we doing this?
We were debating doing a Collider news video on it today, on one of them at least. There's one that I think is like reasonable and kind of no big, actually, like I can't even say that it's no big deal to me, but it could be a big deal to someone else out there who's really sensitive to spoilers. But like the whole thing is labeled like information revealed from like you can't accidentally like autoplay it. So it's up to the viewer to decide whether or not they want to know that information. And you know, like again, I don't think I'm devastated by knowing that information. I truly don't believe anything would have been created in toy form right now that's like a next level spoiler. Like you might say you want to discover certain things in the movie, but as far as giving away like the big twist or the ending, like I don't think they would ever manufacture a toy of that right now or come anywhere close to allowing something that reflects that to leak. So I feel like the things that we are seeing right now are things that like, yeah, some of you might want to see in context rather than in toy form. But I also think it's going to be a situation where the reveal of that thing in the movie is going to come with enough majesty and excitement that it's still going to feel like something to you.
Yeah, a toy is never going to replicate exactly what something looks like. It's a plaything, and sometimes like there's so many funny pictures online of. There's a hilarious one, like the Dennis Nedry toy from Jurassic Park looks nothing like Newman, like absolutely looks nothing like him. So toys are one thing, but I will say though, when I saw that Mechagodzilla toy, I had no idea Mechagodzilla was even in Godzilla vs Kong. Like it had not been announced yet. That was not a thing that was knowledge. So that just posted. And it's like, oh, by the way, Mechagodzilla is definitely in this movie. Great, awesome. Now we know the third act twist. Yeah, that was a huge one.
Big one. You know, these other things. These things in particular, I don't know. I get the sense like it's trust me, these things that we have seen, they're big deals. They're big deals, but I feel like they're not holy shit third act kind of things.
No, that's fair.
I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. Maybe I'm just praying the movie hasn't been spoiled.
Maybe you're just hoping,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm legit like talking myself into not feeling like things have been spoiled for me.
It'll be fine.
Oh, Matt. All right.
We haven't like talked about anything. What are we talking about?
Another story. I think we should talk about that Don't Breathe trailer.
Yeah, we can do that.
I got real mixed feelings about this movie.
I have mixed feelings on if they can pull off this narrative. I understand the discourse around like people being like, oh, how are we going to like a Cruella movie about a Cruella person that killed dogs? But like that was all before we knew something about the movie they were making. Then we saw Cruella and we're like, oh, cool, it's a retcon. We get it. Don't Breathe 2 is a continuation of a story of a goddamn monster. And we are now making the monster the hero. We know who this character is. We have the backstory. And that's what scares me. It's like, and this was the choice you tried to make? It looks like it will be tense. That is not what I'm worried about. It looks like it will be a very crazy scenario of Stephen Lang having to basically defend and like kill these intruders, we'll call them. And it looks like it'll be very cool and like sensory because it's a very quiet trailer. It's very much the disability that Stephen Lang has, him going about it and like how he's going to maneuver that. I think they're going to nail all that stuff. I just don't know if I'm going to give a fuck because this guy's a fucking monster.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big challenge that this movie faces. It doesn't really, there is part of the first movie that tries to give him like, I guess, somewhat of a relatable motivation, but like his actions are, like you call it, they're monstrous. That's like real messed up stuff that like forget just bringing it into the second movie, not being able to forget it. There's things he did in that movie that I'll never forget. Like for the rest of my life, like for the rest of my life, I saw Don't Breathe in theaters with my sister, my mother, and my nana, and we
saw it together. You went with them to see Don't Breathe.
We went in Florida and did it again. but like not like 3 generations of my family will never look at a turkey baster the same way ever again. So
Absolutely
how
never.
can we go into this movie? Like, I guess that young girl in the movie needs to be one incredibly effective hero, because that seems to be the only way that I could get behind his actions in a movie if it's to save her.
So, and Tinker Weasel does say that it might be isn't inferred that maybe Don't Breathe 2 could be a prequel. I think that's...
I don't think it is. I think it takes place. I read somewhere 8 years after the events of the original film.
Yep. So I was even going to say, even if it was a prequel, there's still too much history there to even go back and be like, oh, that dude, the dude with the turkey baster, we're going to go back and prove to you that he was a good guy at one time. Like, I don't want that story. That's actually not what I'm looking for. And go ahead.
The official synopsis for the movie is the sequel is set in the years following the initial Deadly Home invasion, where Norman Nordstrom lives in quiet... Is that really his name? Lives in quiet solace until his past sins catch up to him.
Yep. So
I hope this isn't a redemption story.
It looks like I'm interviewing Rodo. So like, I'm gonna get time with the director and writer of the first one, and the writer of the first one, the director, writer of the second one. And I have questions, and luckily I'll get to see the movie first before I do it. But I'm absolutely gonna ask all the questions that I have and just be like, hey, so let's talk about this attempt. Did you also see?
Yeah, wait, Tinker Weasel, don't apologize, because I watched this trailer before reading anything about the movie, and the first thing that I Googled was to see if it was a prequel. So I 100% understand where you're coming from on this. What were you gonna say?
Did you read Jane Levy's tweets? Because
I did.
That was a very funny thing for people who don't know. There was a little, a little Q&A session where Fede, who I like Fede's movies, and we're talking about 2 movies here. So I think he's a good director, and he's worked with Rodo, his writing partner, this whole time. And they were asked about why Jane Levy wasn't asked to return, because there is very much an open door. She has the money. She runs away. Like, there's an open door for a Jane Levy story. We want to know what happens after that. Her character in Don't Breathe. And Fede's basic response was, I'm going to boil it down. And I'm going to boil it down to, well, I wouldn't ask Jane to come back. I really like what she's doing on TV. She's a much more like accomplished actress right now, and I wouldn't want to put someone like on that level through the things that we do in these movies. So I wouldn't ask her out of like my love for her. Like, I wouldn't do it to her. And Jane Levy was like,
it's not his place to make that choice for her. And thinking Don't Breathe 2 through. When I finished that movie, I wanted her character story more than anything. I do understand that when you come up with such an iconic villain, it's difficult to, have her go forward without him. Maybe he follows her and goes after her again. I don't know. But her character in the movie was the priority for me. So that seemed like the more logical story route to take. But the fact that he even put it that way is... It's very upsetting to me, because I feel like it devalues someone like Jane Levy, who puts in an incredible amount of commitment into everything that she does. And then there was something along the lines of like, she seems happier doing that. Do you
basically he says like
extraordinary playlist? Do you know that? Like, why make those as some? And those are like, I don't want to blow this out of proportion, but it is to a level career. Like, he is defining her career and what makes her happy. It's not his place.
Well, also the comment, if we're going to say like it's devaluing her career and her place has gone to, it's also devaluing anyone that would take the role, because now you're admitting that like, this is a role you wouldn't offer to someone. Right, exactly. Well, you haven't been through this already, and you haven't been through the torture that we put our actresses through. So guess what? You get to do it now too. And it's just like, that's a very strange way to put it. I do want to. Do you mind if I read Jane Levy's tweets?
Oh, please.
It's just 2. It's 2 single tweets. And so this is like, this is Fede saying these things out loud, not talking to Jane Levy at all. And then Jane Levy tweets out, I don't really want to revisit this, but it feels a little funny to have people choosing what is the best decision for me without asking or basically saying what I want. Fede Alvarez, right, though, I would not want to do Don't Breathe 2, but not because I'm too committed of an actor, lol. Follow-up tweet. Maybe we should be asking why these films were made in such a way that their directors are averse to having committed actors participate. Anyway, good luck with the new cast. Heart emoji.
I love her
so
much.
It's great.
She's
it's a great thing.
Hands down one of my favorites.
But that second tweet is kind of what I'm getting at. That second tweet is kind of like, why are we making movies in a way where you can't get someone that is committed to do this? And why are you getting the new it's like a rite of passage thing, I think, or it was a rite of passage. Like you do your horror movie and then you get into the business. But maybe if we're traumatizing actors and actresses, it's not really the right way to do it.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Just where you draw the line between performing something and realism. Where do you draw the line between, being super committed and putting yourself through a situation where you're subjecting yourself to trauma? It's just, it's a very interesting conversation to have. And I would love to hear more from the folks involved on where to draw the line on such matters.
And how to draw the line, because we give the creatives a lot of freedom these days, and still, creatives had way more freedom in the old days, whatever you want to call it, before we started cracking down on things. But still, to have sets and productions where it can be run in a way that you would run your actors and actresses out. I heard horror stories from the Evil Dead remake set, and it is a movie I love dearly, dearly love. But I also hear horror stories and the things that Jane Levy and people had to go through. So, are we attributing ourselves to the class of you got to do the work to make the movie? I don't know, whatever it is, but it's interesting.
It is. Now I want to interview Jane again so I could discuss it more. I'm so curious.
Dude, right? Oh my God. I would kill it interview Jane Levy. That would be a good one.
She's lovely. We've had a couple conversations that I remember quite fondly, but I'm praying that my next conversation with her is for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist Season 3. Someone better say
waiting a little bit.
So there's
I say streamer.
Thing. I would like to see that. That seems sensible to me. I feel like it would do quite well on Netflix. It feels like the kind of thing that would catch on even bigger over there, but it was just making me think because, I had Betty Gilpin on Ladies Night recently, and the story about Glow that I published, it didn't do as well as I hoped. So it hurt my heart a little bit because right now I'm because that was, it's not necessarily a thing of the past. It's what's time anymore? You never know when something could come back, but that feels like it's in the rearview mirror. Whereas I'm very focused on Zoe getting a pickup from another outlet. And the fact that the interest in Glow has dissipated to such an extent is it was heartbreaking to see that, how quickly that can go away. And I'm not saying that there's no Glow fans out there rooting for someone to get season 4, but it just seems like there was not as much, noise around it as I thought there would be.
But I think that's the state of our industry right now. That's the state of media and all these things. There is so much content that a single show has a very limited window to grasp an audience, to keep that audience. And should something like this happen, to basically find itself that same audience in a new one. As you've just said, it is in the rear view. Glow is completely out of everyone's mind. Glow is gone. Glow had its time, and it sucks to say that, and it sucks to be it can't ever have that back. But it's the truth, because if you don't have that momentum, you just fall right off a cliff. Think of how many movies even we talk about for a week, and then they're just gone because there are 20 new movies coming out between theaters, Netflix, Hulu, just down the list. There, Disney Plus. There is no way to keep control of everything that's happening. So you basically have to pick and choose what you can keep up with. And if your show dies and it doesn't come back that very next season, that show's dead because there are 20 other shows you're going to latch onto. And guess what? You're a fan of something new now. So it sucks. It is the worst, but that is where we are.
It's true. I mean, it's really true.
Yeah.
I'll always be extra sensitive with certain titles, and I think Glow has landed in that category. Yeah. But I think things along the lines of Ash versus Evil Dead. Like, it doesn't matter how far removed I am from season 3 of Ash versus Evil Dead. I will always be brokenhearted about that show not continuing. So, add Glow to that pile.
It's
next one.
The constant of what we do. Yes, do what we need to.
Mukbanger News is here.
You missed one.
All right, let me get mukbangs first, and then I'll go back up. Thank you for telling me. Perri and Matt are so amazing to see every week. Thank you, my friend. Will the schedule change at all after Perri moves back for work? That is a very good question.
It is.
I don't know. Should we we should figure it out privately, of course, but I would be very
we'll figure it out.
I would also be very curious to know what the community thinks. What makes sense? I mean, does it make sense to go a little later for LA time? But is that going to be a problem for anyone out there? Comment on this video. Let us know what you think about the matter, because I think it's going to be a fun, exciting period of flexibility for the Merri Hour, where we try some new things. Maybe, sometimes we record together, sometimes we go out. So I don't know. We could do anything.
Yeah, I agree with you, because if we could do it LA time 5:30, I think that would be great. But that also means it doesn't start until 8:30 EST time, and you're already eating into people's nights. So I'm open to we'll talk about it. But if the peeps would still watch a little later for LA time, now that me and Perri are both out here, I think there's things we could do. But we'll figure it out. I think for now, let's say the schedule will maintain. Maybe we'll try it doing it this way for a week or two, and then we'll see if it's too much. And then, like you said, it's all flexible. Maybe I just go hang out in your apartment on a Friday, and we just have to record whenever we're ready and stuff like that.
You are welcome anytime you want.
I'm just inviting myself over. It's fine. Just gonna show up at your door with a bottle of whiskey.
The few people that could play that card are you, Matt, and Haley. You two can show up anytime you want. Also, because yes, I do know you will always show up with whiskey in hand or something fun.
I'll show up with a bottle of whiskey and a bottle of champagne.
Please do. Oh my God, it was Caleb's. I saw this. Dallas Cowboys are on HBO Hard Knocks this year. When I saw this press release in my inbox, Caleb, you were the first person I thought of, and I was so excited for you.
Well, there's one good thing is that we don't have.
We don't have what?
I was going to say, if there's one good thing, we don't have to watch Hard Knocks this year.
Are you being mean to Caleb? I don't even know what Hard Knocks is. What is it?
He likes my rival Texas.
What happens on Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks is when they do it's like a documentary, and they go with the team doing their training camp, and they week to week you get to do it. Listen, I'm the Texans fan. He's the Cowboys fan. I have to razz him because he is the other Texas fan that I have. He's my rival Texas fan, though. He's not a good one.
Is there any football news I should be aware of?
Not really. We're in a dead zone right now. With Hard Knocks getting announced means we're getting closer and closer to actually getting to training camp. So once training camp starts, then things happen. Training camp starts, then injuries happen, then people come out of nowhere. Then you actually get a sense of who is going to be coming up in the league. So give a little bit. We're almost there. We got to get through it, but
don't say the I word, injury.
I mean, it just happens.
I know.
It's part of the game.
Man, athletic injuries make me so sad. I was watching the gymnastics Olympic trials stuff, and someone got hurt at the very end of the broadcast, and it just it legit made me want to cry for her. The fact that you put all that time into something and you have your chance, and you only get a limited amount of chances, and then something completely out of your control like that happens. It's awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I hope she's okay. I should Google that after. Okay, where are we at here? Do you want to say hi to some people?
Sure.
Vanya's here. Christy's here. MK Songbird is here. Look, MK Songbird knows what I'm talking about. It was Emily Lee. MK Songbird, do you know how she's doing? If you chat that, I'll put it up here. All right, Mukbang is back. You might have mentioned it already, but I arrived late. During the pandemic, I loved Invisible Man and His House, starring Wumi Masaku, also on The Loki Show. Are there other lower budget picks or on the horizon? Loki has an amazing cast. Loki does have an amazing cast. I think she's great in it. She just got cast
number
in
one
too.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, another
I was gonna say
another HBO show.
Nice. I was gonna say you'll be happy to know that I've very much come around on Loki. I'm caught up. It is a good show. I love what they just did. So
episode 4
I know it was a big
good.
Yes, episode 4 was real good. They hooked me. They have me in. So I know it was a big thing that like I thought Loki was okay for the first 2 episodes. Yeah. So chat, don't worry, I like Loki now. But if you like Invisible Man, His House, things of that nature, I might have just posted my top 10 horror movies of the year so far, and most of them are independent. Most of them are available to stream right now. The site is, or the list is on whattowatch.com under my name, Matt Donato. But recommendations off the top of my head: Initiation, Fraternity Slasher, very good with what it does. Crazy fucking movie called Skull. It's on Shudder, and it is just about okay, so it's The Mask, but imagine if The Mask was like R-rated and was a skull, and it was in Brazilian, and it just was a guy that just murders people. It's like a take on The Shape, but The Shape is basically a Brazilian man who has put a mask on, and he's overtaken by an ancient entity, and he just starts slashing everybody. So like that's a lot of fun. That's great stuff. Psycho Gorman is fantastic. You should still watch Psycho Gorman if you haven't seen that.
I'll need to watch that.
But yeah, there's a lot of good independent horror out there right now, and I would say it's kind of leaps and bounds better than any of the mainstream horror I have seen this year, between the Spirals and the Forever Purges and the Conjurings and things of that nature. So my indies have been saving me this year. It's been a good year for indies so far.
I'm having like a little bit of a brain fart here. I mean, I'm just looking at my list of best of the year stuff. I would definitely put Saint Maud on the list if you haven't seen it.
Saint Maud, that is right. That is
came and went really quick. That made me sad.
But it's on. It's streamable now, though. It's streamable.
I heard. Where is it streaming? I heard that the other day.
I think it's on Amazon Prime. If correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe it's Amazon Prime.
We've also spoken about this one on the show, The Queen of Black Magic, which is on Shudder. You could check that out. Sundance. I'm trying to find one that's actually available.
Yeah. Well, Censor's available.
I haven't seen Censor yet.
Oh, see Censor. It's on my list.
Yeah.
See Censor.
Shit, I gotta get around to that. All right,
the
now
Block Island Sound is on Netflix. I was gonna say, Block Island Sound is on Netflix. It's a little coastal horror flick, very fun. Gaia played Sundance. That was South by Southwest. I liked Gaia. Look at that.
Was Gaia both? I feel like I had 2 opportunities to see that, and I missed them both.
I think Gaia was only South by Southwest, I believe. Saint Maud is on Hulu. That is right. Thank you, MK Songbird.
Good stuff. Wait, I had to give MK Songbird another. Yeah. So this gymnast took me a minute to find out, but via her Instagram, unfortunately, I did suffer a ruptured Achilles on the floor as I was punching into my double-double. I have a great team of doctors operating on me tomorrow as I start my road to recovery, which will be long and painful, but I do believe that I will come out of this stronger. I appreciate that positive outlook. My heart hurts for her, though. Makes me sad.
Well, because that's a thing for athletes, though. Like, it's one thing to have the injury; it's another thing to let the injury cripple you, like mentally. Like the mental aspect, you have to bounce back, and if you can't bounce back because you're in a place, it's a thing. First,
Blackhawk, thank you so much for this super chat. We appreciate it. Hi to Perri, Matt, and everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. We'll leave you up for a little as we talk about stuff, because you didn't even ask a question. You could have asked a question. Like, I appreciate this even more because you donated and you didn't even ask a question. You're too generous, my friend. The injury conversation has me thinking about the return to LA because it's like I want to hike, but like I'm scared to hike.
We can go on hikes. We'll make them safe hikes.
I don't think I'm ever doing that one ever again.
It's fair. It was a steep one. It was steep.
I didn't even fall, and I still did that for myself.
It's a slip. It happens.
I'm not going on that again.
We'll do it. We'll take baby steps. Take little baby steps.
All right. Vanya's here. Happy early 4th of July to all saw American Horror Story 1984 for the 10th time this week. What about you, Perri? I swear I'll get there. I swear. I have to.
Do you?
I have to watch it before American Horror Stories. I do. I really want to finish it. Any chance you tweet me your review. Vanya, I promise, when I do get around to watching that, you are going to be the first to know. I appreciate you keeping it on my mind because I really do mean to watch that. I swear. I'm an American Horror Story.
You know what?
It's literally the only thing in the franchise I haven't watched.
I'm going to have to watch everything from season 3 up because I stopped after 2.
I'll give you bits and pieces to watch. How about that?
No, I'll do it. You know what? I'll do it someday. I will sit down and just purge them all. But
Purge?
Oh, yeah.
Right now, wait, did you legit accidentally slip because the Purge?
I did. I 100%.
Oh, okay. All right. That movie really did make an impression on you.
It's 5:30 and we didn't even get to our title topic yet.
So yeah, but that's what I was thinking. I was thinking we would save that to the end just in case. Okay. Is that what we're going to get to right now?
We got more time because we're not doing beer pong. We can do chats.
Can you blab about something for a minute so I can get another one?
Yeah. Hold on. What topics do we have that I can jump into? I'm just looking at the list that I can.
Don't do the trailer for Blood. The trailer for Blood Red Sky looks effing awesome.
That's fair.
If you want to talk about that more, I just had to get that out there because I didn't know what that was. I pushed play on that trailer and now I need to
hold on. Now. Give me a minute. The chat has 1 minute to recommend what they want me to talk about. You're going to stay with me for a minute and hang out. And we're going to pick a topic. And whatever that topic is, I will talk about it while you're gone. Chat, you have a minute. I'm starting now.
All right. Let's save. I'm going to save the thing for after. But just quickly, in case anybody doesn't know, I'm reading from a Slash Film article right now. Blood Red Sky follows a mother named Nadia who is flying with her son to America in order to see a doctor that might be able to help with a rare medical condition. But when the plane is hijacked and she's shot and left for dead on the plane, the dark secret about this medical condition will be revealed. She's a vampire, and now she's pissed and thirsty for blood. This movie is coming out on Netflix on July 23rd, and that trailer looks like so gnarly, and I love it, and I can't wait to see that movie now.
Okay, I think I have what I can spiel about while you're gone, because you don't like this movie, and someone has said something about Till Death and Megan Fox's comments about wanting to be in the DC or MCU, but... Goodbye. I can talk about Till Death. This is great.
Have fun. Be right back.
Yeah, I know. If you don't know what Till Death is, it is I'm going to call it a contained thriller where Megan Fox continues her genre. We're going to call it a little genre streak because she has done Rogues recently. I can hear myself echoing in Perry's screen, so I'm trying to not talk loud. But so after Rogue, after Megan Fox has hunted a lioness, she's now handcuffed in a new movie to her dead husband. And that is the whole movie. She is handcuffed to her dead husband. They are having a rough patch. The way that he decides to get over things and to get back at Megan Fox's character a little bit is to wake up, handcuff. She looks, "What are you doing, honey?" Shoots himself in the head. And the entire movie is her trying to navigate through their lake house, but it is the winter, so it is freezing cold. He has opened all the windows. He has taken away any sharp objects. And he is also he was a criminal defense lawyer. And it comes out that Megan Fox has a history with one of the people he defended. He invites the person he defended to the house. So now she has to basically escape this mad criminal in the house and also find her way out. That is Till Death. And I liked it. I had fun with it. Not fun in the way that haha, this is hilarious. I think Megan Fox is a good actress in this kind of role. And for her to carry a corpse, basically she's carrying her supporting co-star, and to do everything she has to do with the heavy lifting of the film, whether that's little survival techniques with finding gas, things of this nature. There's a great moment where she breaks down on the basement steps and is looking face to face, and she just lets all her frustrations out while looking at this corpse with a head wound bullet. And I was into it. I know Perri hated it, but for what it does and for how it could have turned out, you said I didn't hate it. You didn't like it. You said you didn't
No,
like it.
I didn't like it. I think it's a cool high concept premise that is just left at what it is. Like, it is what it is, and I don't think the movie did anything all that cool with it. And I don't think they made the most of Megan Fox in it, because I do think she is very talented, but I don't think it let her be nearly as charismatic as it should have. It was very like blah and one note to me, and I was surprised that, like, whether we're talking about emotional or peril, I felt so little from it.
So I think the response there is I didn't get that her character was supposed to be charismatic. Her character was supposed to be in like a loveless marriage where she is now beaten and kind of defeated. So she's going to be more drawn in. She's going to be more like that kind of person. So
charismatic doesn't necessarily mean a bubbly personality, but it does mean does mean emoting in some respect. And also, when you have scenes where your character is alone, attached to a dead body, and she's saying things out loud
to the dead body,
you need to play into that in a certain way to make the most of it. And this movie doesn't. So those moments feel awkward to me.
I was just more into it, I guess. I don't know why, but I was digging it. I was digging on it. I thought it was tense. I thought it was like a chilly little thriller. And I think they did do well with the concept. Not like amazing. This is still a 3 out of 5. I want to very much make that clear. Like, this is a 3 out of 5 movie, but it's not Swiss Army Man. Someone just said that in the comments. This is not funny. It's nowhere near Swiss Army Man. I want to make sure that's clear. But for what Till Death could have been, and honestly, for like, this makes me so mad for the roles that Megan Fox should have been offered for such a long time. And I like to see her taking these kind of movies now. Like, there's no longer this hiatus for her. Like, she is just taking the roles. And I'm not saying she's going the trajectory of Nicolas Cage, but like, if you see her IMDb right now, that like, she's just saying yes to a bunch of stuff because she's like, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm going to go out there and just make movies and make the ones that I can make now. And I love it. Like, I was pro Rogue. I'm pro Till Death. I think she's doing... It's, again, a 3 out of 5. But you know what? Okay. You might like it more because she has a lot more to do, and she's more of a independent ass kicker in that one. She's not just playing pouty faced. She is very much doing the mercenary role. And again, I like her in the mercenary role. I think it's a good look on her.
I felt bad for Owen Mackin in the movie. Like, you get a role, and then like, that's what you got to do the whole time, because I like him.
Well, Callum Mulvey, I think, is the name of the guy playing like the creepo, and he's a great creepo. Like, he always does those kind of roles, but so you get a little more there. And then there's the little brother to add the moral complexity, because no, we don't want to just kill her, right? Like, I think they did things right. So I'm going to give Till Death the bump. Till Death got
it's
the bump.
Not, I didn't hate it. It's not terrible. I just think that they had a premise and a performer who they could have made more of. All right, let's do Mukbang and then get into Fear Street.
Yeah, we have 2 mukbangs. So do the first one first.
Oh, because I didn't go to the first one.
Yep.
Here's
the first one.
Mukbang number 1. Sorry to mention appearance again, but you both look amazing. You spoke about hikes, but do you still run? I put on 20 pounds during work from home pandemic. I walk now and appreciate any encouragement. I mean, to be honest with you guys, like, I didn't do anything like gain weight during the pandemic, but I do feel like I'm not as like fit and healthy as I was. Like, my diet definitely changed, where I feel like I'm eating like less like real food, like, real food versus stuff that's processed, not that I've ever really had a healthy balance with that kind of stuff, but I feel like it got worse in the pandemic. And also, without my cross training gym, I've leaned very hard into like my comfort zone kind of working out. And I think that's just, it's made me like a less fit person all around. Like, I'm still a good runner, but like, I haven't lifted like a barbell since early 2020.
The pandemic killed me in a way, because like I was at my peak kind of right after the pandemic. Like, I was in the gym an hour and a half a day. I was doing my runs every day, and I was able to maintain, is what I would say. I was good in the sense that I made rules like in the pandemic, because I was just in my apartment. Like, that's where I was for over a year. Yeah. So there were little rules, like I had to do X amount of push-ups a day, And how I would do that is like I would fit them in during like video game sessions. So it's like play around to Call of Duty, do some push-ups, play like I would just like do stuff like that. And I always kept on my runs. So like I kept up with my runs, and my runs have been where they need to be most of the time. It's effing hot right now, so maybe not as long as they might be right now in LA, but that is purely sun-based and dehydration and just sweating my balls off based. But I will say that I was very lucky in the sense that I kept up with that stuff, and I actually did keep up the entirety of the pandemic. So like it is a mental thing. It's a mental thing in the sense that you just have to keep pushing at it, and you have to just keep telling yourself to keep doing it. And if that's walking, that's walking. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As long as you're being active, it's good. And like I will get back in the gym soon. I'm just not ready to like in a public gym. But my apartment that I'm moving into has a personal gym, like in the complex. So like I'll feel okay doing that.
I'm all conflicted because the cross training gym that I used to belong to moved during the pandemic, and it's, you know, on a no traffic day, it's 20 minutes away from where I live. So it's like, not do bad. I want to commit to a 40-minute commute though, round trip? And then on top of that, their schedule is very, very slimmed down. So now I don't even have that many options. So it's like, if the only class I can make is a 6:30 class, which is obviously during rush hour, am I rejoining? I don't know. I might stick with Peloton for a little while.
I will say the one thing that killed me is I kept drinking heavier beers all pandemic. Like I kind of broke my rules. When I was really good. I was like only like 2 beers on a Friday, and like Saturday I allowed myself to kind of get into it. I lost like kind of that control during the pandemic. So that has to change a little bit. Because
I think it's healthy to break those kinds of rules during extreme situations. So I think that, you know, Mukbang, if you're in a position where you need a bounce back because you did certain things to adjust during a really hard time, it's a very respectable place to be in. And it's just about like finding the thing that you really like. And for me right now, that's Peloton classes. I do very much enjoy them. I don't like own a piece of machinery. All I do is pay for the app, and it's like very affordable, and there's not that much equipment involved, or at least you could pick classes where there's not that much involved, and I like it quite a bit.
All right. And I think the last thing too on that is just do what makes you feel comfortable. Like not everyone has the same kind of mindset about this kind of stuff. So again, if that is just getting out to walk, just do something. That's where it starts. It starts with that something, and you build upon it from there. So whatever you're feeling comfortable doing, do it.
Walking is don't hesitate. Too. I feel like walking doesn't get the credit it deserves. Like sometimes I'll walk instead of run, and it's incredible how like you burn the same amount of calories sometimes when you walk at a certain pace. All right, second one here. I was glad to hear good things about Megan Fox. I think she's actually very good, but has few very good scenes. I read that she reads a lot and cares about her characters perhaps more than directors. If I ever have the pleasure of having Megan Fox on Collider Ladies Night, I will back pocket this information and I will ask her about it. I hope
also, that makes sense for having done so many Michael Bay movies.
Well, yeah, those Michael Bay movies are not ones that use her abilities the right way. You know a movie that really lets Megan Fox shine? Jennifer's Body.
I was just going to say Jennifer's Body.
It's like, I guess it's kind of obvious, but at the same time, I think back to when that movie came out, and like it wasn't especially well received, and it also didn't do very well at the box office, but it has gone on to become a cult classic. And I feel like many people look at that movie now and they're like, like Megan Fox was really good. I'm like, oh, now you realize that.
Well, when did that come out? Was that 2009? Was that still in the 2000s?
I think that was one of the very first press screenings I ever went to. It was Extraction, Jason Bateman, and like I remember what screening room I was in, and it's closed now. But then I went to Jennifer's Body, and I thought I was so cool going to my press screening. I was so happy.
So here, my thing with Jennifer's Body is it was just a 2009 movie, and the 2000s did not have a great reputation for horror movies. And towards the end of it, when you're stuck in the kind of the post 9/11 Saw era, anything that was coming out horror related, everyone just assumed it was something in that vein. So I think a lot of horror movies got lost between, honestly, like anywhere from 2000 to like 2012. There's so many movies that got lost. And what you're saying about Jennifer's Body,
back it up to 1998. Begin it with The Faculty. Yeah. And I feel like there's this huge gap where like people just made assumptions about certain new releases. And then it was years later that it became a cult classic and people realized like, like that was actually really good.
I just wrote about 13 Ghosts, the remake, on Shudder and Bloody Disgusting, and it's like there are so many people that love this movie, and there's so many people that love these kind of movies. But at the time, it has like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like when it came out, it was just like completely maligned. Like it was a $42 million budget, and it only made $68 million. Like yeah, it failed at the box office, but it has such an audience. And again, I think it's just because at the time nobody liked like horror just had a bad name. It had a bad rap, and it just sucks that we have to go back and like relive all these bonkers ass 2000 horror movies that had huge budgets. Like to get a $42 million budget for a horror movie nowadays, are you kidding me? Like the newest Halloween was only 10 million. Like it boggles my mind that there's just such a special time in horror where it was getting the budget it deserved. It was going crazy, but everyone just turned around and wouldn't watch it. And it's just like, well, that's why we have what we have. And that's not a bad thing. But that's why it's all kind of driven by indies, and that's why it's driven by low budget productions, because Blumhouse has taken over, and God bless Blumhouse getting all of their properties and they're taking everything over. But guess what? That means we're getting Blumhouse budgeted properties at the same time. They're just doing 5 mil, 10 mil tops, and that's not a bad thing. They want to make the profit, but also that's a restriction.
This is kind of related, but it's kind of not, because The Faculty has me thinking about Jordana Brewster's Texas Chainsaw movie, which I also think is very good and deserves more credit than it got, but it has me thinking about another Texas Chainsaw movie too, because I'm allowed to say this now because it's in the can, so I can't jinx it. I had Alexander Daddario on Ladies Night, and
3D!
Like, you know how I feel about Texas Chainsaw 3D, right? I mean, that movie's rough.
It's bad.
But do you know like my issue? Like there's a lot of problems with that movie, but there's like one scene in particular that makes me like borderline laugh uncontrollably. Do you know what it is? I've spoken about it before.
Tripping over the fence. It's tripping over the fence. Yeah.
But it's not even just that. The sequence is her character comes like out of the house and completely unprovoked, like Leatherface is far behind her. She falls down the stairs first. Then not only does she trip over that fence, but that is like an ankle-high baby fence. And he is so far behind her. But it's like after falling down those stairs unprovoked, she trips over the fence. Matt, I was shaking in my boots. I thought she was going to get so mad at me, and she was such a good sport about it. I'll at least send you the clip after we're done recording. But I needed to tease that. I built up the nerve to ask her about that, because I don't rewatch that movie because I don't think it's very good. But I do revisit that particular scene because it makes me laugh.
We talked about it on the podcast with Lindsay, and when I tell you that me and Lindsay and Monagle just went on that scene alone for 10 minutes, it's just, women can't run in horror movies. They can't have coordination.
That scene kills me. I'm so glad that I'm not the only one who obsesses over that like stunt work and blah. Like, why?
It is horrendous. It's actually inexcusable in the sense that how small that fence is, and she still trips over it after falling down the stairs because she forgets how stairs work. Like, it is embarrassing.
The best thing is, I think it's on like some sort of a Fandango affiliated YouTube channel, like, you know, where they run official clips, where they'll put on YouTube like clip 1 out of 10, and like that is in one of their official clips. Like, did they release that as a clip? Like, to promote the movie?
Listen, horror was weird. It was weird times for horror.
I can't. But I was so proud of myself, but also scared to bring that up at the same time. But she was very good at it. She was very
I would have done the same thing. I would have been terrified and just been like, I gotta ask. Like, we're not getting out of this interview without that.
We happened to, like, I had a segue where we were talking, like, I don't know why it came up, but there was like a reason for me to mention possibly being embarrassed by something. So I'm pretty sure my segue was like, I might really embarrass myself, but can I ask
I like it. No, that's fine.
Absurdly obnoxious question right now.
Your toad's fine there.
All right. Do you want to talk about Fear Street?
Yeah, let's get to this. Let's go deep into Fear Street.
Before we put up the spoiler warning, though, can you just give everybody who's still with us the non-spoiler thoughts that you have on the movie? Because everyone knows that I'm already obsessed with it.
Yeah, I liked it very much. There's no argument in the sense that It's to say it's dependent on the nostalgia of the 90s is like not giving it enough credit, I think, because we have had plenty of 90s horror, like 90s nostalgia horror movies come out, and I think you can just easily put them all in the box. But Fear Street is a cut above because it does well developing the characters. It is an R rating, but it actually does the right things with an R rating, and it doesn't just use a body count. Every death is impactful. You care about the characters. You feel everything that's going on. You don't get drowned by the billions of needle drops of popular songs in this movie that should be a distraction, but they fit every scene. I cannot say enough good things about Fear Street. I went in skeptical because, listen, I'm going to be honest, the hype train hit me last because I watched it a day after everyone else. So my Twitter feed was just gushing about it for a day. And I'm like, all right, I got to go in and just like, when everyone loves a thing, I just have to make sure I see it for myself. And hells yeah, Fear Street holds up. 1994, I don't know how the other movies can get better than that. I don't know if they will, but I was riding a high after seeing 94. I'm all in on the Scream, It Follows vibes, but it is still indebted to everything that R.L. Stine created. And that's the important part because this is still very much in the R.L. Stine universe. You feel it, like it jumps off the page. It doesn't just like recycle old Scream riffs and things like that. Like it easily could have. All
right, I'm doing it. This is it. This is going to stay up probably for the rest of the episode. I'm like, if you saw my screen right now, I'm legit circling the spoiler warning with my cursor. Nobody could see it, but this is a thing that's happening for the rest of the episode. So if you have not seen Fear Street 1994, I hope you enjoyed the show. This is where we leave you for tonight because we're going to get into some very heavy spoilers. So that's it. Let's do it, Matt. Fear Street 1994 spoilers begin now. I have a problem, Matt.
Go.
I can't stop watching this movie. I can't stop watching it. This trilogy, I'm not allowed to talk about 78 or 1666, but this trilogy has ruined my work schedule. But in particular, 1994 has ruined my work schedule because I have watched that movie like it has to be 5 or 6 times. I'm full blown obsessed with it. I can't stop listening. I can't stop listening to the score. And it's just like it comes out swinging. I haven't really figured out how to put this into words because like I don't really know the formula when it comes to paying homage to a classic, like let's say a Scream, but also like doing that appropriately and also making a movie feel like your own and not like a copy paste. And somehow Lee Janiak manages to do that like what I think is perfectly, or at least perfectly based on everything that I've seen that tries to do such a thing thus far. That opening sequence is absolutely incredible. And there are shots in that are flat out lifted from screen. And then when you have a Beltrami score paired with it that literally uses the same sounds, like she is essentially copying Scream, but it doesn't feel like it's copying it in a bad way. It feels like it's being respectful of it, but also making it feel so natural in the thing that she's creating. And just to be able to accomplish that alone amongst the many other things she pulls off in this movie, that is like a friggin' art.
And I think that is, allow me to try to put into words what you're describing. It's because Lee Janiak cares about Fear Street itself. Lee Janiak does not care about recreating Scream. Lee Janiak does not care about being the next Wes Craven in that sense. I mean, it is, the DNA is there. Do not get me wrong. It's all there and everything is right where it needs to be. But every scene still comes down to telling the story behind Fear Street 1994 and creating those characters over being what we've seen over and over, what we've seen like time and time again, where filmmakers want to make sure that they've seen the entire Scream trilogy over and over again. Like we have seen billions of movies where it just relies on recycling, but every scene, as much as the homage is there, as much as the like literally shots are lifted, do not get me wrong, it still feels like a fresh universe because we are still dependent on the story Janiak is telling in Fear Street.
I think a lot of it also comes from the fact that the mythology of Shady Side is so strong, and also the performances from top to bottom are so strong. It's like you could have the coolest visuals in the world. That opening sequence wouldn't have been nearly as good without Maya Hawke and David W. Thompson. They are
so good.
very,
That
very,
opening
very
scene
good.
is so good. And it's not hiding anything either.
No, maybe that's a big factor too. It's not like trying to like, aha, like, look what we're trying to do. Like it is leaning into that the entire time. But like Maya Hawke is just electric in that role. When you think about how much time she's on screen and how much you come to care about her and how much that death really hurts, that is very, very impressive work there. Also, I'm the big old dum-dum who did not know that Lee Janiak is married to a Duffer brother, and you could see this in The Witching Hour. I'm like, so then there's a lot of Stranger Things crossover here. Is that just a coincidence because you're Netflix? And she's like, oh, I'm like, I don't know the, like, how there's like, there's like movie news, and then there's like more like pop culture-y personal stuff. Like I never know the personal stuff. It's like I didn't know
I don't read the gossip mags. No, I don't.
I don't know any of that. My mom's so mad at me when I don't know like who's dating who or who's married. I forgot what came up the other day, but like I said, like isn't like this person dating this person, and it was something from like 10 years ago.
Yeah. But again, though, aping off the Duffer Brothers stuff too. Stranger Things is very much indebted to the 90s. I mean, that itself is a riff off that. And I guess the thing to remember in all this is like Fear Street came first. So that was the thing that like I kind of had where, yeah, it's indebted to Scream, but at the same time, like Fear Street was still the thing that came first. So like you take the story of Fear Street, you use the lenses that we've seen before in these other horror movies that are the DNA of it. So again, where I'm still impressed is that Fear Street is still the selling point. And I agree with what you said. It's never a replication, and it's never a sense of like, we're going to hide the fact that we're doing Scream stuff, and we're going to hide the fact that we're playing around with all these movies you've seen before, and we're going to do references. It very much owns its love. It owns its love of horror, and it owns its love of this lush like imagery. Who's just said in the comments? Tinker Weasel. Nope, sorry, the other one. Anthony Willier. The Neon Spencer's imagery was so cool. Again, it's just these great visual pops that it does really well. The black lights, like I was a mall kid, like in Jersey, in the sense that like we would always go to our mall to like pass time, and there was a Spencer's there, and like that was nostalgic in its own right. It hit the lifestyle. It didn't just hit the replication of like, oh, the 90s. This is cool, like meta humor. No, like it lived it. It didn't try to use it as a gimmick. That was literally what the movie was about. So I think that like living in that world, in that universe, it fleshes out an entire universe instead of using it like superficially. It's not a superficial application of the 90s. It is very much an homage in the sense that it lives it. It doesn't just use it to be like, hey, isn't this cool? Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing, and that's something that we're going to have to wait and see unfold in the entire trilogy. But even when you want to, I mean, here's another thing that really impresses me about Fear Street 1994 is that it very much functions as its own full story by itself. I know that it ends in a place that obviously functions as a cliffhanger, but I was very satisfied by that first story that we got.
And if we're talking spoilers, can we get to the third act? Because I do want to bring up.
Oh my God, go for it. Go crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So I think what impresses me most is the R rating of this all. We've seen. Here's the argument. It's like Black Christmas, feelings aside on the movie itself. When that first got announced as like PG-13, it's like, oh, it can't be a good horror movie because it's not R-rated. You know what? There are a lot of really bad R-rated horror movies because an R-rated horror movie a lot of times goes like, we have an R rating. Let's just make sure the gore is good, and who gives a fuck about anything else? Fear Street is that like it's an immaculate balance where the opening, as you said, with Maya Hawke dying, it's gruesome in the sense that you feel for that character so much. Like it is not meant to be an entertaining death in horror movie senses. It's meant to make an impact and make you feel something. And you do a lot. And then it kind of goes down a lull because this is a story about two lovers in the sense coming together and defending against the supernatural. You have the hospital scene where there is some gruesomeness and there is some blood. Don't get me wrong. There's some death there, but it doesn't really, you know what? Like as a horror fan, you might sit there and go, why is this R-rated? This is nothing I haven't seen before. And then that third act happens. And that's important because The third act uses its R rating not just to kind of go crazy with its deaths and have a lot of fun with them. It also hurts. It hurts really hard to watch things happen to characters that we have taken the time to come to love, and then we use that R rating.
It's Kate and Simon. Like,
Kate and Simon die. They die hard. They die really hard, and that it kills
my heart to a million pieces. It's like freaking Kate didn't deserve that. I wanted her to live on to whatever the next thing was, but like that bread slicer scene is hands down one of the best horror movie kill scenes I've seen in years.
It's so
what an incredibly well executed kill in terms of making you feel attached to a character so that you care when she dies, but also like a beautifully and brutally shot creative kills. Like, I couldn't have guessed in a million years that was going to be her fate. Even the second we got into that supermarket, like, I never knew something like that was going to come. I never knew they were going to have, like, her head was legit, like, practically in the damn bread slicer, and I'm still thinking to myself, like, you're not going to do, you did that.
Do it.
Shit.
And again, that plays the maturity factor of, you know, I think there was a big thing where like, this is an R.L. Stine kind of movie. Like, what can it be? And if you're not knowledgeable, like, I didn't read all the books as a kid either. Like, do not get me wrong. I'm not professing myself to be a huge R.L. Stine nerd, but, you know, I know enough about Fear Street to know that it is very much the mature take and the take that is going to get gruesome and morbid, but it kind of handles horror for a younger age group as maturely as it should be handled. It doesn't hold anything back. I mean, this is the horror of everything we deal with on a daily life. And that's where it all comes full circle, because you get the social commentary of Shadyside being a place where people don't really escape. And, you know, the Shadyside Sunnyvale dichotomy is amazing. Like, that alone, building the rivalry there is so good, because like, you escape Shadyside by going to Sunnyvale, and that monologue at the end that Dina gives about, you know, her friends are dead, they're getting pinned for the murders, and she's just kind of like, of course, you're going to take my friends and like the pill pusher and like the slacker. But like, really, she was pushing pills to basically keep her family, or like, you know, get out of Shadyside. And like, he was working 15-hour jobs at the pizzeria to like support his family. So like, the necessity to have a message and themes within Fear Street, just all of it coming together, like, it just works in cohesion in a way that a lot of horror movies try to do, and they don't, because some try to go for the message and it doesn't sell. Some try to do the gore this way and it doesn't sell. But you get everything together between the character development, the gore, the themes, and everything it's doing. And like, this is one of those perfect amalgamations of what horror is all about. I'm
rolling through the checklist of what I can and cannot say right now, but I'll just further emphasize.
Oh, because of the rest.
Because of more. I'll just emphasize that like you're spot on with all of that. That's a big part of the reason that I think the fun lean into the horror of the 90s works really well, is because this is something with an incredible amount of layers and attachment to the characters. Also, the whole Shadyside versus Sunnyvale dynamic. It all plays very well, and I can't wait for you all to see how they expand on that. What do you think about the whole Sam and Dina relationship in general in 94?
Love it. I mean, so this is something I brought up in the review as well that I wrote, and I love when like Disney or one of these big studios is like making a big deal of the fact that like, we're going to have our first openly gay character. Don't worry about it. This is going to be a huge deal for representation. And then it's fucking the director who is straight having a one-off line while he's sitting like in like a support group in an Avengers movie, in a 3.5-hour movie. Yeah. So like, the Avengers Endgame bullshit, it's like, this is going to be a huge moment of representation. All you do is put a Russo brother on camera for literally 20 seconds and say his character's gay. Like, that is such a bullshit, right? Like, cop-out write-off. And again, this is why I love horror, because horror is made for the outsiders, and it deals with things because it's not afraid to deal with outsider themes, I guess we'll talk about. But like, the idea of sexuality.
This whole series is made for outsiders too. It's like, for anyone who has ever felt like an outsider in any capacity, like, the Fear Street movies are going to speak to you on another level. And that just
And I think the relationship, though, well, I was going to say the relationship is natural. It feels genuine, and you still love them because of their personalities. And it's like, it's never a thing that it is a lesbian relationship. It is just a thing that they are two people in love. And that is why it is good. It never makes this big grand gesture or gimmick out of the fact of what it's doing. It's doing it because it's a normal thing to accept in 2021. And the fact of the matter that, like, we still have Disney who can't even, you know, Gaston is our big gay supporting character. Don't worry, everyone. And like, fuck off. You're just placating. So yeah, no, I very much enjoyed it.
They are very, very good in this too. The two leads, Kiana Madeira and Olivia Scott Welch. They just have so much natural chemistry with each other. And I love the fact that the movie lets them suck too, you know? Like, lets them be like nasty to each other. Like the opening, or not the opening, but like the beginning portion of their relationship, I believe, you know, before anything really bloody even happens, when, you know, Dina's all pissed at Sam because she moved to Sunnyvale, and Sam's like, well, my parents got divorced. I'm sitting there like, well, fuck you, Dina, for putting that pressure on her when she's going through that. But I think that's a very natural teen response to have. And also, and like, this is something that I very much credit to Madeira from start to finish in this movie, is the fact that literally everything Dina does feels like it comes from such an overwhelming place of passion. Like, you know, when you're so obsessed with something that it'll make you do something wrong, even though you're fighting for something right. Like, that's a lot of her decision-making process throughout this. And I think it's just like very powerfully reflected. And then there's Sam too, who admittedly in the first third of the movie, I'm like, well, like, you're kind of boring compared to the other characters, but like, that's not what she was meant to be. First of all, the two personalities paired together, it's a very interesting dynamic. And I think that dynamic winds up strengthening both of them. But like, I got very hung up on what it meant to be targeted by these killers in a different way when it came to Sam. And I mentioned this in my non-spoiler review. I think that calls for a more introspective performance. And I think that is real talent on Welch's part to be able to deliver that, because there are certain beats where if you're not thinking about what it means to be the odd man out in this situation, then you're not feeling the full weight of the threat that's going up against her and not the people around her. And then that then further enhances the people around her who are putting themselves in the line of fire in order to protect her. It's just like, it's this whole universe that comes together so well to just like bolster every single element of it. And that right there is very good writing.
Yeah, everything, it's the domino effect in the sense where everything has to happen in unison. You have to have all the characters firing on all cylinders. It all has to work, make sense. But then you throw in these killers at the same time, where that is the other connection to this entire movie. I mean, the fun part of Fear Street 1994 is that you have multiple slasher killers chasing after these kids. And it is very much, it follows, because they continually follow, sorry to say the word again, but follow them. Yeah. And they are the Jaws scenario. They bring up Jaws in the movie because 100%. It's just, there's blood in the water, and that's Sam's blood. So these killers just continually follow them. And it is so much fun to watch these killers come out of nowhere and just cause chaos. And you just have to survive. And the ways that they do and the ways they have to. Also, my friends are watching, and I totally got called out because I misspoke. Obviously, Gaston is not the gay character in Beauty and the Beast, is LeFou. I completely fucked that up. So just admitting my faults right now. Hello, Dewey.
He's been like dancing around the desk and the camera ever since we started doing this. So I've been like a little distracted here. Do you hear that? Like, is he making noise into the mic right now?
A little bit. But yes, really to stay on track, now that I've corrected myself because I went on a tangent and just talked about Disney shit for no reason. It's really well done. And I don't know if you ever played Mixtape Massacre, but it's another one of these things where it's a board game that like goes from the 90s horror era, and you all play as killers and you're trying to kill like survivors. It's great. It's awesome. It's so much fun. But like, it feels very much you're playing Mixtape Massacre. This movie is just unleash the killers, have your fun with them, tell the emotional story arc, and you get the survivors going place to place. But it always comes down to the danger aspect. The danger is always there. And while you have the human elements, and while you have the love story, while you have all these things, a killer's still going to come out of nowhere. And whether that's the Jason ripoff, whether that's the Ghostface ripoff, whether that's the crazed psycho home wife, someone is going to interrupt this day or this night and whatever they're doing, and it's always going to be a good time. So for Fear Street to hit on all those cylinders, it's insane.
Can I ask you for your predictions, like on what's going to happen next, or maybe like your thoughts on why Shady Side is the way it is?
Are you talking about the curse?
Yeah.
I mean, I very much think that. Okay, so if we're gonna play this out and we're gonna go from 78 and 66, right? Those are the ones that are, and like 1666,
1666,
right? Yeah. So if we're playing things out, and I haven't watched them yet, I am gonna be honest with you. I've only seen 94, so this is just me thinking. I think we're teeing up that Sarah Fears, I believe is the name, right? Of the witch. We're gonna go with that.
It is.
So okay, so Sarah Fears was definitely an innocent person killed, and basically, let's say it was Salem witch kind of trials, that kind of era, and they were going off of a religious thing. I don't know. So I think Sarah gets killed innocently, has to become, or like chooses to basically enact revenge upon the town, and she's behind it all. Like, we know she's behind it all already, but I think it's going to be more of a the town is evil, not Sarah. She's being blamed for it all, and just decides to be like, you know what? Y'all wanted me to be evil? I'm going to be evil now.
Okay. We'll revisit as we go through the series. This isn't really like spoiler territory, but what do you think of the idea of releasing 3 connected feature films in 3 weeks? That's a very interesting model that we haven't really seen.
I mean, it's genius. This is a brilliant marketing move. I want to say marketing wise, like, you have now dominated July. Fear Street is going to be the event of July, and we're talking about a month that includes Escape Room, Old. What else am I leaving out? There's another horror movie in there. Or The Purge. I mean, The Purge is a July movie. So Netflix is smart. Netflix knows what they have. Maybe they're not all as good as 94. I don't know if they are. That's a thing that happens. I think this is a brilliant business move and it's streaming too. So like you said, how many times you've seen it, how many times you've rewatched it, everyone has the rewatchability. So maybe people now are going to show their friends 94 the next week instead of going out and seeing Escape Room or something. So brilliant, Netflix, good on you.
I really hope you're right about all of that, because this really, it's not just like one of my favorite movies of 2021. I mean, like, it's very high up there, to the point that I am desperate for that to happen, so that, you know, by everybody sharing and watching, we wind up encouraging the industry to make more things like this. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm like getting like a lot of feels from this movie as a genre fan and as a slasher fan. Like, this feels very special, and it feels like we need to all rally behind it so we get more of it.
Yeah, and if this goes back to the honestly the budget talk I was saying before about like 13 Ghosts and like how amazing it is that a movie of that kind of grandeur got 42 million. Well, Netflix has a lot of money to spend, and they spend it pretty just like willy-nilly at times. So I don't know if there's any way for horror to get that budgetary freedom again. I think it's through Netflix, and I think it's doing things like Fear Street.
I mean, this is high quality stuff. I think they got a real winner here. So if they're putting their money behind stuff like this, I'm all for it. Before we wind this down, I do want to say the names of the other people in the main ensemble, because they are also
great
exceptional.
Ensemble. Yeah, it's a great ensemble.
Benjamin Flores Jr., who plays Dina's young brother, Josh, is just pitch perfect for that role. I didn't really know anything about him until I had to do the junket last weekend. And then I realized he's like like he got I think he got some notoriety through Ellen, and he's been in a couple of things here and there. But like I had last seen him in Rim of the World, which is another Netflix movie, and even in that movie, which I think was like so-so, it was fine. It's a cute kids movie. I still think he stood out. Here it's like he really is just like, you know, it's elevating a role again. He's taking something that he's given and then he takes it and then he gives that character a certain amount of depth that I think that is very specific to him. And that's a difficult thing to achieve. And then there's also Fred Hechinger, who is also coming out in a new HBO series called The White Lotus. Keep an eye out for him.
He kills it.
You know what I told Haley, because I'm obsessed with Logan Miller. I feel like it's getting creepy. I apologize for that. He got Logan Miller vibes in this movie, and I'll bring it back to Alexandra Daddario because I said it to her because she's worked with Logan Miller. Logan Miller and Fred Hechinger need to play brothers in a movie, and sign me up for that movie. I will watch it.
I think again, like
I want to watch it.
Just going off the testament to Fear Street, like Hechinger, there are so many one-off jokes that shouldn't work as well as they do. And whether that be like when maybe some couples break off and everyone's hooking up while they're like getting over just having to escape.
One of the best lines of the movie. One of the best, like that's something that could have been like so sticky and stupid, but the way that he says "me too," I'm like, dude, you won me over.
Well, and even before that, like when he's looking at himself in the mirror and he's just by himself, and like the setup is there are two couples that both shouldn't be together at the time. They are, and they immediately start hooking up, and then you cut to Hechinger just kind of like just in his underwear looking at the mirror and just like digging himself. Like so it funny. Is the quintessential raunchy teen masturbation joke. But again, it works, and it works because of the ensemble. It works because of the direction. It works because everything going on. Like it is not that dumb Porky's throwaway. It is very much a funny joke.
He is definitely the comedic relief of the movie, but again, not without real heart and depth, because his last conversation with Josh before they all split off, like that's why, as you continue to watch the series, the value of Simon in it reverberates, because like you can always feel the impression that he made on Josh, if you know what I mean. Like that's something that keeps a character alive no matter what happens to him.
Also, I think his tussle with the serial killer,
Ruby Lane.
Yes, Ruby Lane, exactly. So when Simon tussles with Ruby Lane and it's just in the middle of the street and there's 50s love song playing and it's under a streetlight, it is such a good sequence because it's the first time we get the idea that there are multiple serial killers out there. And so good. So good.
So in 94 we've met Skull Mask. We've got Ruby Lane, and then we've got the Nightwing character.
Nightwing killer. Sorry, Nightwing character. So was there one more in there now, or was it three? I thought there were four.
I'm trying so hard to not say anything that I'm not supposed.
Don't. We'll leave it there. Those are the ones we know. Yep.
Okay. Yep, that's where we're going to leave it. All right. Do we want to hit these mukbang reviews super chats?
We have a few. There's more than that. We have a few in there. I'm getting a drink very quickly. So
this is the first one since we've started, though, right? With spoilers. All right, I'm going to go with that. Mukbang Reviews says, also related to pandemic, many apologies. Are you comfortable going to a barber, Matt? I am not. I cut my hair now, but office opens next week, thus all the questions. By the way, I love your hair. However, you keep it. Are you going to a barber, Matt?
I will soon, probably. I think I'm at the point where... You're going to wait until
I get back, right?
I don't know, maybe. Like, this is now requiring, like, more maintenance than I would like. And this is no maintenance right now. But if I were going out in public, something... I love how, like, I say, like, if I were going out in public when thousands of people watch these videos. But, like, in any case, if I were going in public, I would probably do more with this. I'm done with this. I'm done with going for a run and having it, like, go in my hair all sweaty. And Matt, I think I'm ready for a barber.
Can I put you on the spot right now?
Yeah, sure.
Please. I think what we should do is, and I'll actually, like, I'll put more into this. I'll pay for this. Okay. I think that when I get back, the very first Merri Hour we do, you should let me cut your hair, but we'll make you a proper appointment the next day. That will make you a proper appointment the next day. So when I mess it up, you could get a real haircut and I'll pay for your haircut.
No, the answer is no.
Why? You're going to shave it all
real easy.
Anyway.
I'm not shaving my head, Perri.
Let me cut you. You know what I mean? Like the short spiky thing. Let me cut it off.
No. This is my hair.
I think the live chat would disagree. I think they all want me to do that.
I'm not letting the internet make my decisions, Perri.
Why?
Why? Do you want me to answer that? I can answer that. Or do you?
I want to read Mukbang's next super chat. Please talk again about the changing nature of TV. I can't watch commercial TV. I find the interruptions problematic. I love to binge. Are we changing societally?
Yeah.
Mukbang, I am with you. I'm a binge watcher now. That doesn't mean I won't watch things that come with commercials, but if I were given the option, do you want to watch something live with commercials, or would you rather have the opportunity to binge something on a streaming service without any commercials? I will hands down any day pick binging an entire season with no commercial versus watching something week to week with advertisements on broadcast TV. Do we agree?
Dewey agrees too. And the binge option is fantastic because nobody likes to wait anymore. This is, again, it's 2021. We don't have patience. We don't have things like that. With everything we have to do, could you imagine if you had to keep up on your countless shows week by week when instead, like, I just binge them in order. I can retain information a lot better. And especially if I'm reviewing something now, like, when I was reviewing like Lovecraft Country and The Boys at the same time, it was enough to try to keep up with two shows and keep those things narrative and like, you know, keep everything going straight in my head, where I would love to just watch everything in an order, just like write one single review about it. But are we changing socially, societally? Yeah, absolutely. No one has time for anything anymore. This goes back to Glow. This goes back to what we were talking about in that sense. Like, everything comes and it has its moment, and if it doesn't capitalize on that moment, it is gone. Like, it is straight up gone. You have, honestly, like, it's comparative seconds in the grand scheme of things to make yourself known as a property in a show and to hook your audience. And if you don't do it in that time, you're out. Because guess what? Netflix alone has 5 other options for you to hop on immediately that are brand new premiering that week. So this is where we are. You pick your things, you love them, you do what you can with them. And it is like the Hunger Games where everything else just gets discarded.
It kind of feels true. That's why I prefer the binge watch. I think you can make the most out of a shorter period. You're more likely to make the most out of a shorter period of time than you are if you drag it out in a traditional broadcast season run from week to week.
I've been watching Happy Endings. I've never seen it before, and it hit Netflix, and like, I started it maybe a week ago and I'm almost done with 3 seasons. Like, the binge is so much easier, and I'm focusing on it. Like, it's a focus thing. So yeah,
I'll agree with that. All right, next one. And I also can't wait week to week anymore. Yeah. Not for anything. Others say 18 episodes. Am I right? I'm with you too. I mean, the other thing is I much prefer the streaming format to traditional broadcast shows because, like, remember when seasons would go for like 22 episode runs? Like that.
Yes. Once
I missed a season, that would like close the door on being able to catch up in a sense, just because it was too intimidating to have to go through so much television in order to catch up.
So here's my quick argument. I think some things are better meant for streaming and binging, and I think some things are meant for the week-long gaps. I think this is my main argument forever. The Walking Dead, by season 2 or 3, if that was streamable and I could watch it all together, I might have a different take on it, because week to week and waiting for The Walking Dead, it was such a fuck you week after week, because you sit there waiting for something to happen in an hour-long episode. Nothing happens, like thinking of season 2 especially. And I had such a hard time coming back the next week, versus if I could have powered through a few episodes in a row, it wouldn't have felt so daunting. Where Asylum, I will go back to my mainstay argument right there. I binged Asylum. I watched everything in a row. And that was utter fucking nonsense to watch in a row, because every episode is so different. I feel like if I could have disconnected episode to episode, I would have felt a lot better watching it. versus watching them all together. I'm like, why did we just go from crazy Christmas episode with aliens to zombies to like everything just lines up in such a weird way when you binge it. So I think there's an argument for both, and I think that's how the creators make their show. Falcon Winter Soldier, I think that should have been bingeable. I think that would have been a much better creatively done show, and like as an audience member, I would have been able to digest it a lot better if things happened right back to back. But making me wait and having a bad episode, because there's 1 or 2 episodes of Falcon Winter Soldier that ain't great. But if you watch it all together, it gets blended in. When you watch it separately, you can stew on it. You can stew on it for a week. The more we think about things and digest them in that sense, the more we're critiquing things.
The Marvel show, I think the Marvel shows are in a different, I definitely think I would rather binge all the Marvel shows, again, just because that is my personal preference. But when it comes to Marvel in particular, I think because there's so much mythology around it, I have enjoyed for a change being able to tap into the week-to-week discussion. But like, again, I'd choose binge in one shot if I could. All right,
again,
move back with another.
Nope.
Go ahead. Hit it? I also watch Schmodown way too much. Will Perri return or Matt make a debut? Not teams. Perri on a team already, but Matt, come on, do the horror free-for-all. You're amazing. I am returning, and I think I can say that because I'm pretty sure it's been announced that I am returning in the teams with Josh Horowitz. We have another match coming up, so keep an eye out for that. As for Matt playing, I mean, like, Matt, you give me the word, like, I'll text Chris in a heartbeat and tell him to get you involved.
It's come up multiple times throughout our live streams. Many people have asked, and maybe I have to take the dive. I don't know if Schmodown is my thing. I just don't know if it's something I actually want to get into. And that's not anything against Schmodown. It's knowing me more. I like doing these live streams. I like doing this kind of stuff, but competition, I'm more physical than mental. Let's put it that way. I don't know if I can hang.
So if I go to Fantastic Fest this year, we're going to box, right?
Absolutely. No, I'm not going to box you, Perri. I know you keep trying to get me to box you. I'm not boxing you. I know we're not doing that. I will box.
I won't be mad at you if you punch me in the face. I swear.
Perri, I'm not punching you in the face. As much as you keep asking me to, I will not do it.
Then can you be my manager and can you find me someone to punch
yes,
in the face?
That I can do easily. I've already been.
Who am I going to punch in the face?
Well, you have to find your topic first. You have to find your debate topic. You have to do things. Like, I already have my debate topic, and I already know what I want to do. Brad?
Does topic come first, or does punchable person come first?
I think it's both, but topic usually comes first. Like, my topic, if I ever do the Fantastic Debates at Fantastic Fest, is going to be that Evil Dead 2 is a sequel. And I will fight people on that. That's fine. But, like, no. Evil Dead 2 is a remake. Everyone thinks it's a sequel.
What kind of argument is that?
No, Evil Dead 2 is a remake. Brad McHarg wants to fight me so bad on it. So, like, if I ever do that, that's going to be our topic. But I think the topic is the draw. The topic is the draw. The fight is the entertainment.
I don't know why, and I hope you don't take this as an insult, but I feel like you're more likely to find someone willing to fight you than I am willing to fight me. Yeah. But I want to fight someone so bad. And, like, I only like to do things to win, but, like, I'm very conflicted about, like, punching people.
Oh, I mean, you have to punch. Like, my favorite story is I was Brad's ring man last year. So Brad McHarg, our friend, is 0-3 in the Fantastic Debates. He's been beat every single time in the ring. And the last defeat was against his girlfriend, Becky, which was the funniest thing ever because, like, don't get me wrong. Becky can handle herself. This is not a thing where he took it easy. He came after round 1 and he came to me because I'm ringside with him. And I'm talking to him. He's like, dude, she hit me hard. I'm like, you're in a boxing match. I know she hit you hard. Like, absolutely can take her. And so it's just the funniest thing ever. But, like, you bringing up Becky even and like talking about her, like
I could never punch Becky, like, ever. Like, who?
Okay, but the Fantastic Debates are half a verbal argument, half boxing match, Perri. So if you do them, you have to punch somebody.
I don't know.
I'm just saying you have to. Punch
I want to so badly. I just don't know who. Can I play a complete stranger? Can we find someone who has an opposing viewpoint but is a complete stranger?
You're talking to me like I'm in charge of Fantastic Fest. I have no idea. We would have to lobby Fantastic Fest to even get you in there.
Like the Fantastic Fest mayor to me.
I am not. That's only because you know me. There are many more mayors there. Trust me.
I also think it's highly unlikely that I'm going to Toronto for TIFF this year. So like, this is my year. Like I was going to say, I don't think purchase the ticket. I'll like verbally commit to it right now. Like I'm going to Fantastic Fest.
We should talk to them. We'll talk privately later.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan. All right, we've been going for almost 2 hours. Maybe we should sign off.
I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, we should sign off.
Thank you for everyone who's stuck with us through all of this. This was like a fairly smooth episode, or maybe it just feels smooth in comparison.
Last week was a disaster, so anything in comparison was going to be.
But next week is kind of like a big week because I think next week is the very last week I'll be broadcasting from New York. So next week we are doing beer pong again. We're going to bring back some partners, and I'll play on my parents' kitchen table for the last time, and then
gotta send it out.
It's off to the West Coast, and then I don't know. We'll see what happens then. But we'll be back. We'll be back that Friday that I'm in LA. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
You ready for it? Do you want to promote anything before we sign off?
I mean, like I said, I wrote a shit ton this week. So between Bloody Disgusting, Shudder's blog, reviews on what to watch, also the horror what you should catch up on list. At Donatobomb, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. That's where all the articles are. Find my Authory page, which is a great little resource. Authory, Matt Donato. You can find all of my writing, and it puts it in one cool place that you don't even have to look at my Twitter or like go on social media. It's just a great little Authory page. So find my stuff, do that stuff. Also, I am now Twitter verified, so watch out.
Congratulations.
Perri, you have your own thing to promote.
Guess what I want to promote? Ladies' Night. What's the latest one? The Betty Gilpin one is the last one that went on. Betty Gilpin just has a way with words. There's something about the way she describes everything she's been through that I found incredibly entertaining and amusing and poignant. Please go watch that episode. She is super cool, and I'm a big fan of hers. All right, that's it. We're out of here. I was about to say you've officially survived the Merri Hour, but that's a witching hour thing.
Did you have a milestone? Did you have a milestone to talk about?
Oh my God. Why didn't I say it at the beginning of this broadcast?
I don't know.
All right.
Making sure you say it now.
I'll say it now, but here's what I think we should do for our first official LA episode. We should make it a 30,000 subscriber party. Okay. All right. So like the milestone is that this channel finally crossed the 30,000 mark as far as subscribers go. But like now that I've done it at the end of the episode, like I feel like it's like a deflating balloon right now. I feel like we should like throw a legit party though when I get back and really celebrate that, because Merri Hour is like a big component of that.
I was so like if I had planned better today and I didn't literally show up to the live stream like late because I was so busy today. I was gonna buy a little mini bottle of champagne and like pop it. But yes, I agree.
Do that when I get back. Let's make it another party.
No, we're using it a real bottle. Like we're using like a whole big bottle. Okay. That's
the plan. So when I get back to LA, it'll be a return to LA celebration and a 30,000 subscriber celebration. So to all of you out there who contributed to that, thank you so much. We have Annabelle taking us out here with one more super chat. I like having a bookend, Perri's East Coast and West Coast like me. All right, it's going to be the West Coast soon enough, but we got one more East Coast episode to go.